My name's Matt Eagles. I'm 50, but I'm actually now into my 43rd year with Parkinson's.
I was diagnosed in 2008 and the first symptom that I had was in my left leg.
Well, I was diagnosed in 2011.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 1997 at the age of 43.
It didn't shake, so the word tremor never occurred to me. It felt weak and strange and a little bit shaky.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2008. I went to see my GP because I had a stiff arm. Little did I think that it was going to lead to this. My first reaction was, oh dear, that's the end of life as I know it. But it's not turned out like that.
I have this up on the wall here, which tells me when to take my pills. And for instance, the times of day I take my Parkinson pills depends on what time I have breakfast. Like this morning I was having breakfast about 7:30. So I take the first two then and then work out 3 hours through the day. Right, my alarm's gone off and I normally have my 2 Parkinson's medication in an egg cup. And I'm on Cinemet Plus and Comtess.
Why do you use a mobile phone alarm?
Because if I didn't have an alarm, I would never remember when I was going to take the medication, because I take it 5 times a day.
So what you do, you don't take your dose too soon. So that's my 4 o'clock alarm going off. I mean, I've just taken my 4 o'clock. I take it absolutely dead on time, unless I'm faced with a situation where I can't stick to my normal timetable for eating food. I would then possibly take that a little bit early because I want to take the Cinemet before food. This is my system, this is what I do every day. Box number 1 has my spares and, if you like, the drugs ready for tomorrow. And the last box has the first dose of this morning. First thing in the morning before I've set up my box, if you like. Then box number 8 has the Cinemet and the Rizagiline that I take first thing. And I take that before I eat and I take it before I get out of bed. So that is my first morning's dose at 7. 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, number 4 is always 4 o'clock, 7, 10. In 10 o'clock I always have my CR, the controlled release that I take overnight. And then in box number 7 are my 4 Madapar that I'm allowed in a 24-hour period. Generally, this is the one that goes in my handbag.
What I do next is set up for the next time. That's if I'm in the house. I've got a pill box if I'm going out. But if I'm in the house, I set it up. And this is the Cinemet Plus. So that's ready for the next time. If you forget it, as I did the other day, I was upstairs in my study. A couple of people rang me, I sent some emails. My alarm went off when I was up there and then somebody else rang me. And about half an hour later, if not an hour later, I came downstairs and there was the medication in the egg cup. So I knew I hadn't taken it. So I took it then and then worked 3 hours on from that one for the next lot of doses. Comtess, that is supposed to extend the time that the Cinemet is working in my body. Although I'm taking 2 medications 5 times a day, it does mean I'm having a very level amount of medication.
When you have Parkinson's, you need to accept that you have to take these drugs. They're providing temporarily something that is missing from your brain or there isn't enough of, basically giving you the ability to move. 10 o'clock I also have my slow release version of Cinemet, which is called Cinemet CR, which stands for controlled release. And that's the version of the drug that most people take to get them through the night. And I have a choice sometimes. I don't always take the Cinemet. Sometimes I might just take the controlled release and perhaps a Madapar just before going to bed. Madapar dispersible is what's called a rescue drug. So if you find that your drug isn't working, then you take your dispersible and it might be enough of a boost to actually get you back on track.
Dispersible Madapar is incredibly useful. It's incredibly quick acting. because it gets into your system. You're supposed to dissolve it in water or any liquid. I quite often let it dissolve on my tongue, which that works for me. I would encourage everybody to take it with carbonated water, particularly because it gets into your system quicker. First thing in the morning before I get out of bed, I will take half a Madapart, which is one of these in here. I also take an amantadine, which is one of these, and with those they work brilliantly and I feel fine after those, so it's great. Bring something to the consultation that will engage the consultant. He's human too. He's just not there to consult with you, he's there to make your life living with the Parkinson's as best as he can. We're the experts at the end of the day. I know it's a common thing to say, but generally we live in our bodies at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so we know better how our bodies are feeling in reaction to the medication. We work together as a team for the best results.
Whatever medical person you see, whether you're going to have your eyes tested or your dentist, or you're seeing your GP about a chest infection, make sure they've all got details on your records of your medication. And you'll find pharmacists are very helpful. When I go out, I've got a notice on my front door to remind me that I've got my pills in my handbag, which is, of course, very important.
Travelling by train today across the country, it involves a number of changes of train along the journey, so I have to work out where I'll be and when it's convenient to take tablets. Always carry a bottle of water with you. Having done that, make sure you've got enough tablets with you to last the journey, plus a little more, because you never know when you'll be delayed. Always assume you're going to be an hour or two later.
Everywhere I go, if it lives in my handbag. There are some occasions where I might decant some of that into a smaller container, but usually this is the thing that goes with me everywhere, and this is my lifeline. This is something that is always set up and to hand in the house in case myself and my partner have to go into hospital. So it means that all of your medication is there ready to grab. So we have a pack here that's made up with all of the medication in the boxes so that it's clear what the drugs are. We also use it if we go on holiday. Also in here, I also always have the most up-to-date prescription. I know what switches me off is too much food in my system, especially protein. The key is to try to avoid losing the dose in the first place. And that is when you have to think about what you've eaten and when. The key really is to try to avoid creating a situation where you're pretty much making it a definite that you will switch off. So if I time my food and medication carefully, then yes, I'll switch off, but I'll switch off for a shorter period of time, and hopefully I won't lose an entire dose.
With the Cinemet, I've always found to have it before food is preferable because it's not got to fight with the food over the cell receptors in your gut.
The routine should be take your Parkinson's pills before you eat, and then have something like porridge for your breakfast. It's high fibre, so that's good. Have some coconut milk or almond milk, something like that, if you want to avoid protein.
As I understand it, Cinemet is an L-dopa. It's a neat protein. So if you've had a lot of protein in your food, it will block the cell receptors and you might get a failed dose.
So I think of it in terms of it being a bus with a certain number of seats on it. If you eat a meal and it has protein in it, and that protein can be meat, it can be fish, but it can also be dairy, so it can be cheese and it can be milk, then you are filling up some of the seats on this bus, if you like. So when you take your medication, your levodopa, you're making it compete with your food for seats on this bus that's going to take it into the bloodstream and up into your brain. So basically, if you drink milk with your Stalevo or your Madapar or your Cinemet, less of that drug is going to get to your brain, and more of it is going to be stuck sitting in your gut because it's missed the bus, basically.
Be organised, know when you've got to take your medication. If you're going somewhere, always take extra, just in case of emergencies. Listen to your own body, because your body knows best. There's no need to put yourself under undue stress and undue symptoms. I mean, there are loads of apps around that can help you take your medication on time.
It's important for you to take your Parkinson's medication regularly. So if you haven't got a mobile phone to set for when you're taking your medication, make sure you have a sheet and you write it down and put it on your notice board.
Work out what medication you need, number one. Number two, work out when you've got to take it. It's not that complicated. Just make sure you don't overdose anything.
It's not a one-way sort of conversation. If you work together with your consultant, you can get a really good life with Parkinson's.